Hey guys, and welcome to the battle phase. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at another Beetrooper variant. This time, it's the Naturia Beetrooper variant. So what's the point of this variant? This variant, basically the inclusion of just a few Naturia cards, more specifically 4, allows us to end on Naturia Beast every single time. So every single combo is going to add Naturia Beast to the end board. Right, so this is obviously useful sometimes when going against heavy spell decks, but sometimes it is not worth the extra space. But it is a variant, so it might be an interesting way to play the classic Beetrooper combo. So let us now get straight into the deck profile. Don't forget, if you like these type of variants, don't forget to subscribe. So starting the video off, it's gonna be a pretty basic start, right? We're gonna be pretty basically having the 3 copies of our Resonance Insect, our main starter. So Resonance Insect plus any insect extender is going to be full combo. Resonance Insect, basically the bread and butter card here. When sent to the graveyard, it adds level 6 or higher insect, and if banished, it Foolish Burials an insect. But in this deck, it's not just the Resonance Insect, but Retaliating Sea is also a starter. So basically, it's also full combo, and Retaliating Sea does not need anything more than Resonance Insect. So Retaliating Sea plus any other insect extender is also full combo. So that is already 6 starters. But the nice thing about this deck is that Crawler Soma, which we also play 3 copies of, is also a starter in this deck. So any insect you can normal summon with Crawler Soma also resolves in full combo. So this together also means that we now have actually 9 starters in this deck, which is pretty consistent. Okay? But because we do want more, the deck also plays 2 copies of Small World. So Small World can be either a starter or an extender, right? So with the 2 copies of Small World, we do drag our number of starters to 11, right? So we now have 11 out of 40, because this is a 40 card deck. In order to maximize our ways to open a starter, we now have 11 out of 40 cards are starters, which gives us the odds of 82% to open one going first and 89% of opening one going second. So this deck is pretty consistent, okay? As I mentioned, you're gonna need either Soma, either Resonance Insect, or Retaliating Sea plus a insect extender. So that's why we also play the insect extenders. We play 3 copies of Pin the Bullseye. Basically, if you control an insect, special summon him. And 3 copies of Beetrooper Scale Bomber, which is basically, if you summon an insect, you can special summon him out. So these are our insect extenders, the best ones. And then we also play the 2 copies of Dragon Bite and the 1 copy of Assault Roller. This is basically our extension package, alongside with the 2 copies of Small World, because Small World can either act as a starter or as an extender, whatever you're missing. I am going to have the Small World section of the deck profile that shows the bridges and so on before the extra deck. But these are our extenders. So let me explain first of all, the Assault Roller, because this is an odd choice, because this cannot be used as a starter at the start of the game, because you have no insects in the grave to banish. But the problem is you can search him during the combo, and then he is an extender, right? So you need a extender in the deck that can special summon himself without the requirement of basically summoning another insect, just like Scale Bomber does. Pin does that, but Pin can only be used once per turn, so if you opened Pin, then you need another insect you can search that can special summon itself, and that is Assault Roller. Okay, we played the 2 copies of Dragon Bite because it's another insect extender. Basically, if he's normal summoned, you can special summon an insect from hand. That has a very nice Small World interaction, right? So it can be quickly changed into any of your starters as well. So counting in the Small World as well, this is, you guessed it, again, 11 ways to get to our extenders, which is 82% going first and 89% going second, right? So opening extenders and starters is pretty consistent in this deck. Now let's go to the combo requirements. The Beetrooper part, we obviously have to play the 2 copies of Scout Buggy. This single-handedly makes your your Cicada King, which is crucial, obviously, and always part of our end board. and the 2 copies of Sting Lancer. We do play 2 because one is going to be used during the combo and the other one is going to be in your hand as a hand trap, because during our opponent's turn we can target an insect in a grave, 1 card in opponent's grave, and then we banish both and we special summon him from hand. So he can basically act as a hand trap as well. But it also searches a Beetrooper spell trap, and we are going to play this time the Beetrooper Landing for the Saturnas in the extra deck. It is a very important card during the combos. But this is for the rest of the Beetrooper line here. Moving on, we then play the Dozer as a search target for Resonance Insect and the Beargram, so the new insect as well. Beargram, you can banish 3 insects and special summon him for hand. And he's also really good going second because he can wipe the board instead of wipe the board for everything except insects or plants, and we only have insects. So he's also good going second, but both of these are extenders that can be searched off the Resonance Insect. More requirements: the standard Goki pole, right, will be Foolish Burial by Resonance in order to search any insect. This card is just mandatory. And then we play the Crawler Soma, so we have to play 2 level 2 crawlers that Soma specials from deck. These could be any 2 crawlers you wish. I chose these 2, you can choose any others, it doesn't really matter because you're linking them away anyway, right? Okay. And now we come to the special part of this deck, and that is the Naturia package that allows us to incorporate Naturia Beast into the combo. And those cards are 1, Naturia Mole Cricket. This is an insect. That's basically how the Naturia engine works. Then the 1 copy of Naturia Camellia, 1 copy of Naturia Blessing, and the 1 copy of Naturia Sacred Tree. Okay, these 4 cards you have to run in order to incorporate the Naturias into your combo. Now, the good thing about the Naturia package that basically helps it a little bit, because it is pretty bad because it takes 4 spots in your deck. That's the reason why, for instance, we cannot play Baron in this deck, because that would require us to play the Giant Neptune and the other Battle Wasps, and we already filled 4 spots with Naturias, so we just don't have the space to include all of that, right? So we just decide to play the Naturia package here. But the good thing about it is either one of these you open in your starting hand, the combo is still live. So drawing any of these 4 does not prevent you to do your Naturia combo, as you will see in the combo video. So that's the cool thing about it. It really works very simply. With Resonant Insect effect, you are going to dump the Mole Cricket to the grave. Then you're going to special summon him back with a Cicada King, use its effect to tribute himself and summon a Naturia from deck. And we are going to choose Naturia Camellia, whose on summon effect is going to send the Naturia Sacred Tree to the grave. The effect of Sacred Tree is going to add you Blessing to hand. So we're going to have Blessing in hand. And then you're going to use the Blessing from your hand, special back the Cricket, and you have a level 4 Earth Tuner, 1 non-tuner, and then you can make with these Naturia Beast, right? So that is basically how the Naturia engine works here. Yeah. Okay. Moving on, we have 2 anti-Handtrap cards. So that is the 1 copy of Instant Fusion and the 1 copy of Cold by the Grave. Instant Fusion will summon the Millennium Eyes Restrict to give you Handtrap protection, or instead you can play the Ready Fusion that can summon the Fusion Insect that can help you extend. So this is basically your choice. And Cold By, because this is a heavy combo deck, believe it or not, you need it to protect against combos, right? So these 2 cards do come handy. And then the Handtrap portion, we do play the 3 copies of Effect Veiler, and then the 1 copy of Imperm. 4 flex spots here for Handtraps or defensive cards. You can see this is not a good amount of spots, right? I really wanted to have more. So if you wish so, you can replace these 2 cards with Handtraps as well. Again, these could be Handtraps. This can also be defensive cards, or like Triple Tactics, Droplets, Dark Rulers, whatever you decide. But, you know, these are kind of the flex spots in the deck. We play the Veiler because he is small worldable into either Insect Extenders or Insect Starters, right? So that's why I chose Veiler here, right? So that is the main deck. 40 cards in the main deck in order to increase the consistency. But now we are going to talk a little bit about the small world interactions and how to change cards in our deck into the cards we want using small world. So let's take a look how we change our extenders into starters or our starters into extenders with small world. So first of all, we have pin. With pin, you can reveal in your deck the Beetrooper Scale Bomber and add either Resonance Insect, Retaliating C, or Soma, so any of your starters, and you can then switch any of those starters back into pin via the same bridge. The same goes for Scale Bomber, only that you have to reveal pin, and you can go again into any of your starters. And the third extender is the Dragon Bite, which you can reveal either pin or the Scale Bomber to convert into starters. All these conversions work the other way around. You can also convert starters into extenders the same way. And then you can also do the lone copy of Assault Roller. If you open it, you can still convert it into any of the starters with pin or Scale Bomber. Okay? The final two cards you can also convert either into extenders or to starters is your Effect Veiler, that's a hand trap. Effect Veiler, you just have to reveal pin, the bullseye, and you can either turn it into a Scale Bomber or into any of your starters. And the other card, if you open, is Sting Lancer, because we do play two copies of. You can reveal Sting Lancer. In your deck, you can reveal the Beetrooper Scale Bomber, and you can go into either pin if you need extenders, or any of your starters if you need starters. So that's how a Small World is used in this deck. It basically connects the whole deck between extenders or starters, whatever you're lacking in your opening hand. Now on to the extra deck. So the extra deck consists of your basic insect combo cards, the two copies of Beetrooper Armor Horn. The card is just too good not to play it two copies. The second one does come up. It's basically an additional normal summon of an insect, plus you can banish 3 insects to special him from grave. That triggers the Fusion Beetrooper second effect. So the card just really good and does come up at two copies, your basic playmaker. Then the Insector Picofelinia, that I also play 2 copies of. It's basically discard 1 card and equip an insect with an insect from your deck. You equip the Resonance Insect to get another trigger off of him. I also like 2 copies of Picofelinia though, because it is a link to insect and, you know, again, one of the main playmakers. Then we do play for the Link 3s, we do play the 1 Papillon. We will actually not even be using his effect. The only thing why we have him here, because he has an on-summon effect trigger that you can negate with Cicada King and then trigger the Cicada King's Reborn Insect effect. That's how you summon back your Naturia Mole Cricket and you go into the Naturia line. The second Link 3 is the Traptrix Atipus. So basically what this is a generic Link 3 insect, because while you have the Beetrooper links on, you cannot special summon anything except insects, so sometimes you need a generic Link 3 insect to clean the board. Important for the combos. And then the final one is the big boy, the Link 4 Invincible Atlas, Tribute 1 monster, special summon a Beetrooper from deck. The card is absolutely mandatory for the combo. So these are your classic insect combo links, you know. You have to run these basically. Okay, then 2 more generic links. We do play the 1 copy of Apollousa. Apollousa is going to be part of your every end board. Just dump whatever is left on the board into an Apollousa. Gives you monster negates. And then if anything goes south, you get interrupted, or you didn't open well, you can always make your plan B, which is IP Masquerena. And then you also have to play a card to go into. I have Nightmare Unicorn here. This obviously, if you have the budget for it, can be SP Little Knight. It is a lot better. But basically, any link you can go into IP Masquerena that does offer you interruption, right? So plan B, IP Masquerena. If you open enough of standards, this can also be a part of your end board. But again, Apollousa is whatever you always make. Going into XCs, we do play only the 1 XC, and that is the number 3 Cicada King. So this is extension, because it is going to negate one of your cards during your turn to special summon back the Mole Cricket. And then it's also going to be interruption during your opponent's turn. It's going to be a monster negate, right? So doubles down as both and really good. And is, as I said, crucial of going into our only synchro, and that is the Naturia Beast. Kind of the point of this variant is to summon Naturia Beast in every single combo that offers you infinite spell negates, right? So the point of this deck is, if the meta calls for it, or if strong decks are heavy-based spell decks, these combos are going to be, this variant is going to be very strong because it guarantees a Naturia Beast finish every turn. So your end board is basically always going to be, either you start with Soma, Resonance, or Retaliating C, is always going to be Cicada King, Nat Beast, and Apollousa at minimum. This is your full end board, monster negates, and infinite spell negates, right? So overall, it's also a pretty strong board. Now, is it something worth running, dedicating 4 spots in your main deck for, is something you decide. And then we go into the fusions. We do play the Beetrooper Cruel Saturnas. This is the fusion that you summon off landing. It adds a Beetrooper, and then it also specials a Beetrooper from banished. Absolutely crazy extension. It's really good. And then the ultimate Great Insect. You can just summon him from extra deck by sending an insect equipped with an insect from field, which basically doubles down as a link 1 for insects. Very strong. And that's how we're gonna trigger the Resonance Insect that's gonna be equipped to the monster we're gonna send for ultimate insect. So these two, crazy extension. And then you decide between these two cards depending on what was your decision in the main deck. If you play Instant Fusion, you do play the Millennium Mines Restrict for your hand trap protection. If you decided to play Ready Fusion instead of Instant Fusion, then you play the level 6 Insect Fusion to offer you extension. Right? This is one or the other depending on your choice in the main deck. But that is the list, right? This is another interesting way to play the classic Beetrooper list, right? Add in the Naturia Beast for the end board, a pretty decent end board. So yeah, another variant. If you fancy it, you might try it. But again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the combo tutorial where I show you how to make the Nat Beast with this deck every single time. See you guys.